Okay. Hello, Bergen County partners, our family, our beautiful family, Keller Williams family. It is 2 o'clock. It is Thursday. We warned you we were coming, the dynamic duo. You don't even know it. I am Marybeth Olive. Most of you know who I am, so it's just like old news. But just so that maybe some of you are listening and haven't really heard my story a bit, been here at KW for 17 years. I was an agent for 4 years and quickly became an ALC member. The last 12 years, I was a team leader. So I was also in the leadership role with Keller Williams. And for the last year, I have been the DOPE, the Director of Productivity and Education for our Bergen County Partners Group. And I am here today to have a conversation with our amazing Amina Blake Foreman. About bold, about why bold. And it's really not necessarily about bold. It's really about what something can do in your life, an event, an experience that can literally catapult you into a different direction. That is what bold is to me. So I'm here, and just so you know, I have been in bold maybe 14, this is my 14th time, because I'm going to be sharing this experience with you all on Monday, the 11th, October 11th. But today we're here because our special friends, we want to hear from her, and I'd love to introduce Amina a little bit. Amina is amazing leader. More than anything I've learned over the last couple of months is the heart of a servant leader. Things that she's done for her agents in her market center that she is leaving to come to us in Connecticut. The stories just keep flowing in about how you truly have changed lives, and you've just been an integral part of people's businesses, lives, development, growth, and that is why we just are so lucky to be in business with you. So Amina and I share some mutual friends, and I believe you'll get to learn about Amina. We thrive amongst others thriving. And so we want to be amongst leaders and just encourage everybody to just reach for their best. And we're here to help push you there. So I would love for Amina, could you just give us a little bit of who you are? And everybody, she is going to be our new team leader in our Ridgewood Market Center starting October 11th.
On Bold Day. How perfect is that? That was not planned, by the way.
It was not planned. It was not planned. It's just by design.
Right? Look at that.
Life by design. So Amina, go ahead and take it over. I'd love to hear you. Just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Let them experience a little bit of what I know about you.
Awesome. Well, I'm Amina Blake Foreman. I am the proud mom of 2 amazing boys and the wife of a super supportive and amazing husband. And I have been in real estate for almost 20 years now. I've been with Keller Williams for about 11 years. Started off as an agent, built a mega team here, served on the ALC, became a MAPS coach or a productivity coach, and then now a team leader and a soon-to-be bold coach as well. So I am so passionate to be here so excited to be here with you to talk about something I'm passionate about, which is bold. So can't wait. Get ready.
Passion is definitely something I think that we share. You also are not only, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and I'd love for some of our agents to hear a little bit about some of the businesses that you've developed just because you've embraced the industry. That's something that inspires me. You know, what other businesses are you involved in as well?
My husband and I own a property management company. We also own several real estate investments of our own. We do flips. I own a real estate school. I also own a virtual assistant company that's founded, and the virtual assistants are from the country which I'm from, which is Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right.
Yes. And I also have Rise Realty Partners, which is a real estate sales team as well. So anything and everything real estate we do.
I love it. I mean, that should inspire a lot of our agents that, you know, it's not just the sale, it's all of the other business that comes off of it. And we are business owners. So that's, you don't find that in every brand. You really don't. And at KW, just from the inception of my career, have I been taught to treat it like a business. And it sounds like you've had a similar path and being on ALC, just in your second year, and taking the journey that you've taken. So we have this thing called Bold coming October 11th, right?
Yes, it is.
And I am interested to hear, we're hearing a lot of, some agents are really excited. We have agents that are already signed up for full step, first step. We have one of the best coaches, I think, in Bold, Denny Grimes, who will be leading our Bold. And so some of us don't even know he is married to Kristen Cole. And Kristen Cole, so behind every great man is a fabulous, great woman, right? But it's interesting to know that, at his kitchen table, they're discussing expansion. So she is the queen of expansion. She is the first agent that expanded out of Alaska with the help of Gary Keller to design what does expansion look like if you have penetrated a market and you need to actually continue to grow. Yeah. So I think our Bold coach is amazing. But here's what I want to ask you, well, why would I go to Bold again? How many times did you go to Bold?
Well, 21 times, Marybeth. I think I might be a slow learner.
You beat me. So I'm only 14, but why would I need to go again, Amina?
Yeah. So one of the things for me, when I take Bold, every time I take Bold, I had a focus, and kind of thinking about this conversation we were going to have today, I started walking back through each of the 21 Bolds that I took and reminding myself as what was my focus back then. And the very first Bold I took was with Rob Daniels. I had to travel about an hour to take it. And my focus then was mastering expireds. And because that was something he was passionate about. And as he got into the room, you don't always have to know what you're going to focus on before you get into the room, but identify it really quick, because you almost have around 66 days in Bold. And we know it takes about 66 days to build a habit. So why not build a habit in Bold? So I have done that every Bold. So I started listing it down. So first Bold, it was scripts. The second Bold, it was mastering my buyer consultation. The third Bold was mastering my listing presentation. The fourth one was gratitude. The fifth one was for sale by owner. The sixth one was handling commission objections. The seventh one was just working out consistently and working on me, my personal health. The eighth one was team building, because that's when I was starting to get into that momentum. The ninth one was time management, probably my most impactful Bold ever. Well, maybe not, because you'll hear a little bit more about that later. Then the 10th was journaling. The 11th, which is the most impactful one, was affirmations. The 12th one was leverage. The 13th was my financial thermostat. The 14th was consistent lead gen. 15th, I was focused on increasing my average sale price. The 16th one was building my talent bench, because then when your team gets to a certain point and you start having some turnover and different things, you realize how important a talent bench was. The 17th one, believe it or not, was just drinking more water. So you've seen some personal interwoven in there as well. 19th, I focused on my database and loving on that. The 20th was mindset. And the 21st was just focusing on the plan, not the problem. So that has been my Bold journey, and all the different things I utilize Bold to master. Yes, you're going to get a whole bunch of different content for everything, but there's a book, right, called The One Thing. So if you can pick one thing that you want to get out of this Bold and one thing you want to master in that 7 weeks in Bold, then your Bold journey would be completely transformed.
I mean, you basically explained all of the business, and yet the same man doesn't walk in the same waters, because he's not the same man and it's not the same waters. And that's what you're explaining. It was, the curriculum was no different all these times.
Yeah, but I just needed something else different out of it for the place that I was in my life at the moment.
Yeah. So, I've experienced Bold where I've seen new agents come in and literally take 16 listings. I just hugged her a little while ago. 16 listings in her first experience in the business, first month in the business. And now fast forward, mega agent doing about 50 million, has 2 teams, Florida and here. That came out of a Bold room, because she also was committed to Bold. I've seen people get through very tough life situations for journaling. Journaling is what helped them through it. Affirmations, like you're saying. So I think you just touched on like so much. I don't think that there's not one person that's listening to this, watching this, that isn't saying like, I can relate to at least one of those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said something else was database. Your financial thermostat didn't come till way later.
Yeah.
Way later, right? And that's like, wow, that was not hot. And your database didn't come till way later. Because then it's like you're starting to do things and you realize, oh wait, you know what? That message that was there in the beginning, it's still here, and it's going to be, and I, that was just an aha for me. So
Love that.
What can you say to those who might tell you like, well, we had a digital experience and it was like,
yeah,
I'm okay, I'm not going to go.
Yeah. In Post and Bold is a totally different experience. So, and it's the same, we just talked about it, right? You're going to need something different. And yes, Digital Bold might have given you something that maybe was just enough hope to get through this COVID season. And that was okay. Like, we should be grateful for just that experience. Yeah. And you need something different in your life and in your business at the moment. And because I kind of had the sneak peek of being auditioning for Bold, I am working through the content, and they're bringing back the things we are used to seeing in Bold, guys. So it is going to be very close to, of course, you know, we have, because it's 2.0, we do have some of the new things implemented, but some of those powerful moments that allow you to have a defining moment within Bold, it is there. It's in the content, and you're going to experience it.
You know, I think this is leading right to where I want you to share a little bit, because you have to embrace this experience. You cannot go with your popcorn to just see the movie and not participate. This is not, and that's where I think some people have failed in Bold. And for what you said is maybe that person just needs to be plugged into something in that moment, and that's what it did for them. But when you truly embrace yourself and you plug in, as we're looking at leaders, and guys, also, if you are listening, we have both taken the agent to ALC, to team leader, to PC, to back to, if you are interested in leadership, please email me. Please, because we have space on the bench. We have a leadership table that we would like to fill and feed often. And our leadership bench, our leadership team is growing. And I know that we're going to be embracing those conversations. So I want to take that time out to encourage you, reach out to me so we can get you on that right path and we can show you some opportunities, because this is life-changing. However, those people that show up and plug in get the most out of it. And if you're going to go into Bold, and this leads right into Amina, you have to embrace what it's going to do to you. You have to get uncomfortable with it. You have to do the hokey chanting and repeating and affirmation. You got to do it all, because otherwise you're showing up, the way you show up there is the way you show up everywhere. And so if you're wondering why your results are not what maybe you're hearing from others, maybe let's take a look in the mirror. This other one, man in the mirror, right? Take a look in the mirror and say, okay, what could I do differently this time in Bold after hearing what Amina is going to share with us today?
So and I think we should just jump right in, and please forgive me. And I do have my tissue box, and this story that I'm about to share with you guys have not really been formally shared anywhere. Like, people have snippets of it, those who are close to me and in my life, but I think it's important for you guys to understand the power of Bold. So I did write it out so that I can kind of keep my thoughts clear here. So it started back on June 23rd, 2013. For many people, it was a normal day, right? But I know for me, it was going to be a sad day, because I knew it was an end of a chapter. It was the last day of an 8-year marriage to my high school sweetheart. And, you know, we had decided and promised that we would co-parent RJ because we both loved him dearly. Now, 2 years prior to that, we were on our way to a family cruise in the Bahamas. We were building a beautiful life together. So we left Bradley International Airport in Hartford, and we were heading to Orlando, Florida, where we would later catch the cruise ship. So as the aircraft took off, RJ, who was 2 at the time, he was in my arms sleeping. And as the plane took off, I noticed that he clenched onto me, and I didn't notice what was happening at first. And then all of a sudden I felt his arm like in my rib. It was just kind of like jabbing me. So I'm like, what's going on? So I looked down, and when I looked down, I noticed, oh my God, his eyes were rolled back in his head, and his eyes were rolled back in his head. His whole body was shaking. He was foaming in the mouth. And what I realized, I didn't quite understand at the time, but he was having a seizure on the plane. Luckily, the friend who I was traveling with was a nurse, and she was on board. And there was also a paramedic on board. So she quickly took him out of my hands, and they were trying to administer Motrin to him because they thought, well, maybe the air pressure caused a temperature spike and he might be having a febrile seizure. This was the longest 3 minutes of my life. And we landed in Orlando. They rushed him to the emergency room, and we prayed and believed that maybe this was just a fluke and it would never show up again. 30 days later, almost to the day, daycare called me. He was having a seizure at daycare. Then another 30 days, maybe 2 days to the 30-day mark, had another seizure at home with my cousin at that time. And at the third seizure is when they officially diagnosed him as being epileptic. So now this really weighed on me. And for those moms, I'm sure you guys could relate to this. Most of his seizures happened in his sleep. So when he slept, I worried. I watched him, I held him, he slept right next to me. The doctors were pushing me to get him on medication. I resisted it because it was really strong medication. My uncle, who was a nurse, said, wow, he was a psych nurse. And he was like, this is a drug that we give to psych patients. And so I was like, I have to figure out another way through this. So I was looking at how I could adjust his diet. I was bringing him to different naturopathic doctors. I was looking at what could trigger it and what could I remove. And at a certain point, the doctor told me that if I didn't put him on medication, that they would have to, and if he continued to have seizures, they would have to report me to the DCF. So every day I would have RJ say bold affirmations, first things in the morning, last thing at night. I panicked every time the daycare called, even if it was for good news or a reminder for something. They started saying, RJ's okay, because I was just living life on the edge. And this obsession with RJ's health over time ended up creating a distance between me and my then husband. So it was in the summer of 2012 that we took a family vacation. We were going to Jamaica. The night we got there, RJ had a seizure. Now, this made the entire trip just so hard for me because I was concerned looking over him the whole time. We did the best we can to have a good trip. So 5 days later, we came back, we landed, we flew out of JFK, and we got lost where we parked our car. So we were trying to figure out how to get on the highway. And then, so my husband handed me his phone, and I powered up his phone because it was off for the 5 days on vacation, and powered up his phone to try to navigate back onto the highway. And when I powered up his phone, because his phone was turned off for 5 days, a whole bunch of text messages came in. And when the text messages came in, to my surprise, it became quite evident to me at that moment that my husband was having an affair. And these messages, and who knows, okay. So that eventually resulted in the dissolution of our marriage that summer day, June 23rd, 2013. So at the moment that we had the divorce, I want to say that we had $80,000 in what was our life savings. We did mediation, and we agreed, part of the divorce decree was that half of that would be transferred to me, and he would keep half, and it had to be done within 3 business days. At that time, I didn't know there was a formal document called a quadro. We tried to do things amicably and get things settled. And while the day was, very sad, I felt like this was better and that we would be better and we would be able to parent RJ better and all of that. And we agreed on a visitation schedule that he'll have him every other weekend. And then on Tuesdays, he would have him in the afternoon and he'll bring him to karate and all of that. So 3 months had gone by, and one Tuesday I brought him to the house, and I noticed the car wasn't there. So then I sent RJ up to the door to ring the bell because I figured maybe the car's at the shop, and so RJ rang the bell. No one came to the door. While RJ was up at the door, I said, let me call him. So I called him. He picked up. Hello. It's like, we're here. We're at the door. Where are you? I'm on my way to Florida. I was like, oh, it's Tuesday. RJ has karate. And he said, well, you can take him. I said, okay, when are you coming back from Florida? He said, I'm not. I'm moving to Florida. I was like, oh, okay. I said, and what about the money? Like, it's been 3 months and you haven't transferred the $40,000. And his response was, I took it all out. I'm not transferring it. So as I summoned RJ back to the car, the tears just kept rolling down. And I don't remember what that actual day looked like, but I remembered at that moment, like a dark cloud, just like everything just got dark. And I'm like, what is happening in my world right now? So
you were carrying a Snoopy blanket around.
So
Lionel's blanket.
So I was like, okay, so I no longer had the second income that had kind of gone away, 3 months prior. Now he was supposed to maintain the health insurance for RJ, who is our epileptic son. So now he left his job in Connecticut. So there was no health insurance, and RJ's medication alone was over $300. So I went home, I logged into my bank account, and I had $149 to my name in the bank account. So after crying for hours and hours that evening, I called my team leader and explained everything that was happening to him. He listened. And then afterwards, he said, Amina, I need you to take Bold. I was like, I can't afford to take Bold. I just told you I have $149 to my name. And I don't even know that I can even get there because I have to make sure that I have to do pickups, drop-offs. I have to do everything. And his response was, you can't afford not to. And he said to me, he's like, I just need you to borrow my belief in you. And at the moment I realized, well, okay, I have 3 choices. Number 1, I can dust off my degree in math education. I can go and become a teacher and have health insurance and have, a steady paycheck and be able to do that. Or I can continue to go to court and, fight and get a judgment to get the money and figure out how I can get him to start paying child support and doing those type of things. Or lastly, I can find a way to make real estate work for me and find a path forward. So I trusted my team leader and I said, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to take Bold. And during Bold, that was that 11th Bold, my focus was affirmations, because when I tell you I was in a dark place of sadness and just negative thoughts and just the lowest of low that you can feel in life, like just everything is just crumbling around you. And I started saying these affirmations daily. I had 4 of them. I remember them to this day. I attract cash buyers, because remember, there's only $149 in that account. So I needed not only fast. I needed to close fast. So I attract cash buyers. I am a strong listing agent. I choose to live my life by design. I am an amazing and strong mother. I attract cash buyers. I am a strong listing agent. I choose to live my life by design. I am an amazing and strong mother. And the more I said it, as Bold went by, the more I believed it. Initially, I didn't really believe it. And things just started kind of coming together. And I made a commitment in that Bold. Pat Mancuso was that Bold. I have all the Bolds tied to all the coaches in my life. And I remember making a commitment to myself that I am going to do everything in my power to give RJ the best life possible. So that December, which was, because it was fall Bold in October, that December, Marybeth, when I tell you almost to the penny, my GCI was $80,000 that December. So, and there was a cash buyer. Her name is Patricia, but I won't go into the Patricia story. That'll be another story for later. And that was a big defining moment in my life. I mean, the following year, I took Bold 4 times. When I realized the power of what that can do for me, I traveled to other states. So all year I was in Bold. The year after that, I sold over 100 homes. And you know, the part about this is that on August 5th, this year, 2020, 2 months ago, my ex-husband passed away, right? And while most of us, after hearing this story, would go potentially into judgment about him and his character and his poor choices, we also have a choice, right? Because we can change the way we look at things, and the things we look at would change, because you'd quickly realize that without that experience, I wouldn't be the mom I am today. I wouldn't be the wife I am today. I wouldn't be the leader I am today. I wouldn't be your team leader, a BCP team leader. See, because the last text that I got from him before things got really complicated with him in the hospital, the Olympics was going on, and he sent me a video. And the video was of an Olympic swimmer, and his caption was, "This could be RJ one day." And even though he's not here now, one of my affirmations, right? And for him, someone who is not very positive thinking or was not very involved in his life, those words for me meant that he knew I raised an amazing boy, and that I have an amazing son that is able to accomplish amazing things. And I'm so grateful to him, because that experience led me to Bold. It led me to live a bold life. It led me to live a life of gratitude. Bold has helped me realize the greatness that exists in me. And it helped me realize the power that lies between our two ears. And when you look at like all the circles of your life, and for those of you watching this, when you look at all the circles of your life, whether it's, you know, your physical health, your personal health, your key relationships, your job, your business, your finances, if any one of those is less than a 10, then you need to take Bold. Like, you need to choose, like, right now, to go sign up for Bold, and then take it every time it comes around. Because we have choices. Like, I could have chosen to be a victim and not seek help. Or I could have chosen to go become a teacher, and, you know, or I could choose to borrow someone else's belief in me and go for it. I could have chosen to just fight for things of the past in court and all of that, or just decide and choose that day that I want to live a bold life. And the choice you make today in deciding to take Bold affects more than just you. It affects the people that you're in relationship with. It affects your children, your spouses. So I'm going to share my screen and show you guys a video of RJ, who was my son, once diagnosed with epilepsy. And this video, he was about 6 or 7 years old, and he is no longer on medication. He has not been on medication for 6 years, and he has not had a seizure in 6 years. So I'm going to share my screen.
Amen.
And I'm going to share the sound. There we go. And let me know.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
There's no chance, no destiny, no fate that can circumvent, hinder, or control the firm resolve of my determined souls.
Who are you?
Shop.
I cannot wait to meet this little boy.
Well, he is 12 now.
Yes.
So he is a lot older, but that is my bold baby.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story so much with us. So many things happened in that story, but I would hope that anybody could have been listening and resonated with one piece or another. That happened to you when you had already taken it 11 times. So you definitely could have had that excuse that you took it so many times. But if you didn't I love that you said you borrowed his belief in you. I love that, because that's what we do as leaders, right? We believe in, Sally Ponchak says it all the time, I'm going to believe in you until you believe in you. And it feels really good to be able to sit at the table with leaders like that, right? So that $80,000 was by design. You know, that was somebody up there just giving it right back to you. And you know what, if you had to go work for it, like you said, it made you who you are today. That whole experience and journey and not to say we aren't ourselves, we aren't born with our natural talents, but if you guys, we get shaped by life events, and Bold has done similar things for me and for so many others. But this story here, like, if you don't see that that little boy is going to thrive because of Bold, because who else was going to show up? He had some other opportunities for somebody else to show up and give him the life that he's had over the last, so many years. So I love that you said taking Bold, it goes beyond us. It's something way bigger than us. And that's what I would love for our agents to embrace, is that even the business that we're doing, our commitment to our daily activities, showing up and being the best version of ourselves for our clients, it goes so beyond us. It goes to a community, to a generation. It's a generational thing. Our grandchildren will know how we decided to choose to deal with adversity, right? I'm sold. I'm going.
It is Bold is it's a life changer. It's a life changer. You need to just make that decision today and allow yourself to be part of the experience and the process. And you might not know what you're going to get out of Bold, but it will become really clear as you start the journey for the next 7 weeks.
That's awesome. All right. So thank you so much. Amina, you will be at Bold, right? On your first day.
Yes. First day, I will be there in the room. I can't wait to meet so many of you.
We will be there to cheer you on, everybody. And I hope this is causing some of us to take specific action today. So we will go ahead and push out those links again. And we encourage you not just to sign up for the first step. We encourage you to go ahead and take a chance on yourself and get signed up for full bowls. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you for investing the time in you. And thank you, Amina, for taking the time to speak with me.
My pleasure.
Okay. See you soon.